Welcome back to another episode of Cheers to Health. Of course, you got me, Brian, that bad man Torres, and of course, I've got to have the little bitty fella here, AJ, little man, trying to be strong, Tomlinson, and of course, Omar. He's got something wrong on his side. He says host there. He's not the host. He's the co-coach to the main. Anyways, Omar Torres, and of course, we have a wonderful and gorgeous guest, Alyssa. I can't say your last name. Sorry.
Mazzetti.
Mazzetti, welcome. Pleasure to have you, Alyssa.
Hello,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, I know it took us
It'll
a
be fun.
second to get these guys rolling. They they're claiming that they're younger than me, but they don't act like it at all. Okay, you guys are supposed to be
Not
good at this
technically
stuff.
savage. Sorry.
Savvy.
Step your
Savvy.
game up, boys.
Yeah, I can't even talk right.
Step your game up.
Funny.
But we're gonna proceed. All right. So this podcast is a health and wellness podcast. With that though, there's a lot of things that are involved with maintaining a good, healthy well-being, and that's harmony, getting a little bit of this and that, but still enjoying yourself in the process. And today, like Brian mentioned, we have an awesome guest, Alyssa, who is a real estate agent, who is a freaking fitness instructor, and
Shout out.
also a mother and a
Shout out.
wife.
There
Let's
you
get
go.
it.
Let's
But
get it.
she's gonna tell us more about herself. Tell us about how she got to where she is now. So please, will you please let us know about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I've been doing real estate for 8, maybe 9 years. So I started that after my second child. I was originally going to school for nursing and then realized after I had our first child that I just did not want to take the time to go back to school and all of the hours and night shifts and whatever else comes with all of that. And so with our first, we were buying a home, and I was like, well, I could definitely probably do that and make my own schedule with it and everything else. And what's funny is when I was in high school, I actually did all my job shadowing as a real estate agent. So I kind of reverted back. And then when COVID hit, that's when I started doing more coaching or instructing, and then started at the Y. And I've actually only been at the Y for a year, but it's been a fun year. And then, yeah, we've got 3 kids, 11, almost 9 and 7, and been married for 11 years, and it's just been crazy, crazy, crazy madness.
Awesome.
Been a wild one. Yeah, especially with kids. You
Blue.
try to manage everything, try to stay on that path. But yeah. So what initially got you like into this, health mentality? Like what was it? What was that, that thing that kind of pushed you over to be like, I'm gonna do this?
Yeah. I think originally I had some things kind of start in high school. I my one of my girlfriends, her dad owned a gym in the town that I grew up in. And he was really gracious and took me under his wing, and we started training, and I ended up losing quite a bit of weight. And so it really kind of started there. Eating habits changed, physical routine or activity changed. It completely changed the way I played sports and trained for sports and everything. And then I moved out here, and it was a little different. I was in a completely different environment. I would try to go to the gym at UCCS, but I'm still migrating to Colorado. Um, and then when I was pregnant with my first kid, I just maintained that physical activity and, excuse
Oh,
me, everything else. And um, after that, I kind of, when I was pregnant with our second, I ended up on bed rest, which was completely
oh,
not something I was used to at all in my daily life, but let alone with our first. I mean, I was working 6 days a week, going to the gym, or I was working 60 hours a week, going to the gym like 6 days a week. I mean, there was just so much physical activity that I was still capable of doing. And then when our second came, yeah, I was on bed rest. She was like, you can get up and shower and make dinner, and that's it. And I was just like, oh my God, this is miserable. It's like the worst thing ever. And so then with our third, I still kind of took it easy a little bit. And after that, I just kind of got back on track and kind of picked back up where I left off almost, and just kind of kept progressing and progressing, and, you know, ebbs and flows, but
Yep.
maintained most of that lifestyle. Yeah. So it started a while back, but maintaining it has probably been the best part.
Yeah, I think one thing that we talked about before was going from that bed rest to kind of going back into a fitness routine. It was kind of a struggle. It was a little bit discouraging, but you
Yeah.
kind of had to push yourself slowly but surely because you didn't want to like overdo it or whatnot.
Oh my
Because then
gosh.
that'll kind of
No, and you can feel, I mean, I know when I overdo it. I mean, there was one day where, at the gym, I was just like, oh my gosh, I know I didn't have enough protein yesterday because I'm so fatigued today and everything else. And so I think I really, because the same week I found out I was pregnant with my third, also found out that I had thyroid cancer. And so right after I had
Mm.
him, I ended up having surgery, but the surgeon actually severed my vocal cord nerve during surgery. So they make you do all of, like, I had to do all these breathing practices and everything. And I just remember after the third walking around, and I would just be like like gasping for air, because your vocal cord nerve is swallowing, coughing, talking, sneezing, breathing. Like, there's so many pieces to it that I didn't know existed. And so I really kind of started back with I think her name is Lisa Simmons on YouTube, and she's got Walk Away the Pounds. And that's kind of how I regrouped and kind of started back into that physical stuff. And I would kind of, she would do like super low key skiers, and I would slowly start turning them into bigger jumps for the skiers and everything else. And so that was a whole completely new journey on its own. But just a bunch of different
oh,
modifications to make along the way. Yeah.
mm-hmm. See,
Yeah.
and that's our goal. It like you saw Lisa on the
Yeah.
internet or whatever it was. We want people, maybe to scroll by and see Brian doing some burpees or something and be like, "Oh, look, that guy looks
No.
well, he doesn't look cool, but
Oh, come
I'll look
on,
at him."
dude. Give it to me, bro.
He
Come
can do
on, I
the
look
burpee.
cool.
I know. I hate
No, but yeah,
burpees.
that's yeah. Yeah, no. He's
They're
he's the burpee
terrible.
guy.
I love
Yes.
burgers.
Yeah.
I No thanks.
Yeah.
I'll do just
But yeah,
about
so
anything, but if I can avoid a burpee,
I know you're the with doing all your classes and stuff, your fitness and stuff. What exactly do you do? What kind of classes do you usually, you know, do?
when I'm working out personally, I'll do a lot of more weights. And then sometimes there's pieces in there that do include cardio. But I'm not a runner. My knees and hip, my lower body is like 97 years old. So I don't run and stuff like that. I do a lot of weights. But the classes that I teach bottom busters, which is all lower body. And I incorporate weights. I sometimes will incorporate like 30-second bursts of cardio, something, benches, bands, whatever. And then another class that I teach is an upper body busters, which is purely upper body. And that also includes core. And then another class that I teach is called piloxing, which is Pilates and boxing interval training. So you do blocks in that one. Very choreographed, lots of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I like
So
it.
it's a
Reminds
good
me of
time.
Tybo. You ever done Tybo?
I have done Taibo. My mom
That's
used
what it
to have the
reminds me
Billy
of.
Pigs DVDs.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
same here. Our mom,
Yeah.
That's the first thing that we kind of got introduced to any kind of athletic thing was that one dude. What's his name? Like Banks, something Banks.
Billy
Okay.
Banks, I think was
Billy
his
Banks.
name.
Yeah,
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 something like
it was
that. Yeah.
Billy Banks.
Yeah.
Billy
going
Banks.
in there.
Shout out Billy Banks.
Oh my
Mom
gosh.
used
I
to make
remember
me
my
do that when I
sister
was
and I used
overweight
to
for
try
wrestling.
who was
AJ
the
was a chubby kid, so my mom would make him do it so he could lose weight.
For wrestling.
Frankfurter over
For
here.
wrestling.
There's a reason behind it. Yeah, my sisters and I remembered we used to try and do the Daisy Fuentes. Was she Pilates? We used to try and do her stuff. Yeah. Oh, really am open to anything, just not burpees.
Not
That's where
burpees.
we
Just
draw the
skip
line,
that
is
one.
at burpees.
None of the
Skip
burpees.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one of the big ones that was coming up was the P90X.
Yeah.
That deal, and that was a bunch of like core stuff. And I tried it out
Yeah.
one time. I was like, oh, gotta
Used
step
to
my
be
I
game up,
actually have
boys.
not
yoga.
tried the P90X because during COVID is when I signed up for Beachbody, the online program, and that's where I ended up. That's where I began coaching, and I would go through a lot of their programs, and I've seen P90X on there multiple times, and I just have never had the courage to hit play.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Been there. I think my uncle had the whole set and he gave it to me one time and I think I might have played like the beginning of it and was like, you know what? Never
Like
mind.
the warm up.
I'm out.
Wrong
Yeah.
I'm out.
channel.
Yeah, the warm up.
I'm out.
Yep.
That's so funny. Gosh.
That was my military prep right there. I was like, okay, I gotta get ready for the military. I gotta do some P90X.
Oh God.
What a loser, dude.
You hear
Dude,
this
I
guy?
didn't know,
I
okay?
did
I was
P90X to
not
get ready for
introduced
the
to any
Air
kind
Force,
of
dude.
stuff. Yeah, and you don't even need all that. You just need
Oh
to
my
do a
gosh.
couple sit-ups and you're good to go.
I had a dude that I was in boot camp with. He gained like 30 pounds while we were in. He had to get new whites by the end because they were so tight on him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It
His
just
name was
from the
AJ
muscle
Tomlinson.
I don't remember his name. I'd have to look it up, but
It was AJ.
on the P90X he did.
no. It was just while we were
Oh,
in boot
just
camp for the Navy. He would eat so
got
many.
it.
He'd eat like 3 PB&Js every day, or like per meal. Yeah.
Oh man,
He really gained like 20 or 30 pounds by the end of boot camp. It was
I
pretty
can't
crazy.
remember the
Dang.
last time I had a PB&J. That actually sounds good.
Peanut butter and
Yeah, I
honey.
don't think. Yeah,
Those
no,
are good.
Yeah.
Those are
not
also
a
good.
not a big jelly fan, but yeah, that's awesome. So
That's funny.
with that, do you also incorporate like a lot of the healthy lifestyle kind of deal in your household, like with your kids, your husband, and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And if so, what kind of stuff do you implement in the household?
Well, I'm a huge sucker for splurging on food. I'll easily, have very well balanced meals throughout the week and stuff like that. But I'm also really good at being suckered in by a bag of Doritos. So a lot of things that we do in our house is, especially with the kids and they're all in sports and growing is enough energy for them anyways. So we try to introduce or utilize high protein meals, lots of red meat. Um, my husband's getting ready to go on an elk hunting trip. So we've got elk, we've got cow, we just got half a cow. So we try to do everything like farm based or whatever. We've got chickens, so we get eggs from there. And then pretty much everything else we try to make a homemade. Just so that way. And especially right now, I feel like there's a lot of exposure happening with the food industry. So it's been really a blessing, a lot of
Yeah.
work, but worth the work to figure out how to do a lot of this from scratch or
Oh,
to
yeah.
try and eliminate some of those other ingredients and whatnot. And it's been hard, but it's been fun. I mean, the kids love it. They help out quite a bit. They'll get up and make themselves breakfast every morning. And so they know, like yogurt or um, eggs and just certain stuff. And instead of buying like the flavored yogurts with all of the sugar, We just strictly buy plain yogurt, and then they can add a little bit of vanilla extract to it to make that vanilla yogurt.
Mhm.
And then that way, too, you're keeping that sugar intake down and everything else. So we just try really hard to, and I'm a huge sucker for onion rings, but we try to home make them and
Yeah.
everything else. So we do a lot that we try to just keep in our kitchen, or like know
Yep.
where the ingredients are and yada yada. So, and I think that the protein thing is huge just because we're all so busy. But then at the same
Mhm.
time, it's like the kids are growing and that's taking a lot on their body. I mean, um, plus with working out and just maintaining that stamina and that endurance and just making sure that you're fed. And like that one day I was saying in the gym, I was like, oh my gosh, like I know for a fact I didn't get enough protein yesterday because I am so fatigued today. And I mean, that weighs in on everything. Your focus and your ability to accomplish whatever tasks that day. And so I think it all just kind of helps fuel and feed you for tomorrow or like the future or whatever. So we try to just do a lot of that natural kind of stuff.
That's good.
Yes.
Love hearing that. Love hearing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for y'all.
And
Is
Yeah.
it's funny though too, because I'm always like, "Oh yay, we're gonna home make this. The kids can help, whatever." And then the kids put their hands in the way of my hands, and I'm like,
Yep.
"Ah, get out of my way."
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So
All
you got to
right.
find a good
Get out of
balance.
here.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
exactly.
later for that.
Yeah, they have fun with it, so try to be more hands off for them as well. And my daughter last night, she was so funny. She actually made everybody's lunches today for today. So
Okay.
last night she was making the sandwiches and everything else.
There you
And
go.
yeah, so they enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is too, is like making sure they're enjoying that, because you don't wanna go in there and they don't understand what's in the food or whatever. Because
Right.
then whenever they're out of the house, they're like, "Oh, I don't know, my mom cooked everything and I
Yeah.
kinda know, but don't really." And then they go default into all this super, processed foods and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Just
Yeah, making
whatever's
good move right
easy and
there.
convenient for them. Yeah. And I mean, the kids know too. It's gotten to the point where, like, every year when Halloween comes around and they start just divulging in all this candy, I mean, our oldest, if he eats too much candy, it'll hit him immediately, and he's like
Yeah.
getting rid of
Mm.
all of it. Like it literally makes them sick because it's just not really a part of, excuse me, it's not really a part of their diet or anything. And like we've got ice cream in the freezer right now. So it's not like we don't have stuff.
Yeah,
But it's just the amount. It's more
exactly.
right.
portion control, I guess,
Yep.
on that type of food than it
Mhm.
is, you
Yeah.
bringing it and letting everybody binge and it's that healthy relationship rather than that unhealthy
Yep.
relationship with it. So yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
good.
that's
That's really
one
good.
of the big things that we hit on is portion control, because Brian likes to snack a lot and he gets carried away at times,
My bad.
and
It's like
even
a
when he
daily thing.
thinks they're healthy, gluten-free does not mean it's healthy, okay,
Yeah,
dude?
'cause I finally kind of figured it out. Okay. Or I'm just like, oh, it's healthier. I'm just gonna put it all in my mouth and I'm gonna eat it out. I'm like, no, buddy, no, it don't work
I'm
like that.
Yeah, I'm so good at grazing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so good at
Yeah,
it.
one of my clients yesterday actually mentioned this app. It's called, Yuka. Have you heard of it?
No.
I have never
It's
heard.
a scanning, app where you can scan, like, foods and see what's actually, like, in them, whether it's, like, these additives that are hazardous, and it kinda dives into that too, so it goes specific into why it's bad. So I thought that was pretty cool. I
Okay.
tried it out today. I was
That
like,
is
"Wow."
because
Oh,
I've
wait, is that the one for
definitely,
deodorant? Is that what he was just saying?
I think it could help with that too.
Because there's one for deodorant and like body
Yeah.
washes and shit. You scan the barcode on the back,
yes.
and
Yep.
it tells you
That's
like all the
Yeah.
nasty shit that's in it. Like Old Spice, I guess like is really not good for you. It has all like the aluminum and
Old
shit.
Spice, he called you out.
But I
What are you
use it
gonna
every
do
day.
about it?
No.
I'm not that big into it. I eat cheeseburgers like at least 3 times a
We
week.
know, bud.
Chicken fingers.
Florida.
If it's got any smidgen of protein in it, I'm eating it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a pork
That's
chop in every beer.
yeah,
okay.
exactly,
That,
exactly.
That's protein.
no, but I thought that was interesting because I think you were mentioning that now they're kind of exposing more of the foods where it's being more out there that people are noticing there's a bunch of bad stuff, a bunch of additives that are not necessary that are actually being more harmful to us than any good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So hopefully that kind of changes to where it's more holistic and like Brian always likes to say, that's his go-to, which is our go-to pretty much. But AJ, we try to get this guy's the young buck, okay? He just turned 20 yesterday, and
25. I just
no,
turned
he's 20.
25.
Whoa, that dude looks like an old man for 20.
I just turned 25 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but
Getting up
yeah,
there.
I'm trying to get him. Like, dude, it's gonna catch up to you, okay? Let's make those right moves. Let's go to
Not
go
when I'm
hunting, dude.
stronger and
Go hunt.
faster, it can't.
He
What'd you
said,
say?
Not when I'm
What did you?
stronger and faster, it can't.
Ah, shoot. Yeah,
Listen
that's only
now,
gonna.
hold on, time out. I want to tell the chat, I got a fucking drum set the other day,
you
and
got,
I learned Enter
Oh,
Sandman today, so that's my fucking cardio
you
right
got
there.
drum set.
he got.
So,
Yeah, he just recently.
shout out to Brian Torres who's going to go visit his drum set.
No, he's not. I'll put it
So
away.
just
I'll take
shout
it all
out to
apart.
him.
I feel like a
Oh,
stepbrothers
I was about to
situation
say.
I
happening.
was trying to be PG
I was
about
thinking the same
it.
thing.
I swear to God.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly
it's
what I was thinking.
hilarious. Yeah, it's crazy though, because I mean, I feel because even like when I was going to nursing school, there were things during certain nutrition classes or whatever that they do teach you about. But like one of the big things too right now is um like food dyes contribute to the behavior in
Yeah.
ADHD and just all sorts of stuff. And the way that it suppresses this, or I mean, there's so much that just has not been talked about. And
Mhm.
I feel like it's just overwhelmingly all showing up. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yep.
Oh yeah. People have.
Because it's in
People
your
are.
lifestyle. It's the deodorant, the hair products, that I
Yeah.
mean, everything. Yeah.
You really
Yep.
got to do a complete like 180 to get away from that stuff.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it
Oh
sucks
yeah.
because it's so convenient for like the not so healthy stuff. It's so convenient and so much cheaper to be honest with you. So it makes it tougher on the folks who try to live a healthier lifestyle
Yeah.
or eat healthier stuff. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
best to do what you do and get your cows or go get your butcher your cow, whatever it might be. So that's really cool that you do
Yeah.
that.
And the crazy thing is too, I mean, yeah, it's a big cost up front, but when
Yeah,
you break it down, I mean, half a cow is how many pounds?
that's a
Yeah.
lot.
And, you're still paying less than you are at the grocery store or something like that per
Yeah.
pound. So, I mean, it's really those upfront costs. But, and that's the thing to your point, it's like, how in the world can eating healthy cost more than
Or taking
not?
out one
You
ingredient
know?
and doubling the prices on my gluten-free stuff. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And I mean, it's the same thing too, like with like if you buy seasonings, I am like so proud of this hack that I started a while ago. I started buying like parsley and stuff because if you buy a fresh bunch, it's like what, 79 cents, 99 cents. Hang it upside down, dry it. But if you go and get a jar of
Oh
parsley, it's like almost $5.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so it's so easy to do it that way. And, I mean, and that's why I love King Supers too, because, it's coming from all of the local farmers. And I mean, but it does stink because somebody sent me something. And if you actually go into the grocery store and look above the produce section, when they spray the
Oh man.
so if you look on top, there's actually
Don't tell me.
containers. I know. It's there's containers where those hoses are coming out from, and it's jugs. They look like a gasoline can.
Mm-hmm.
And there's pesticides in those things. And I'll have to find that video. My girlfriend sent it to me through Instagram. But so it's like, okay, so we get the fresh produce from the local farmers. Beautiful. That's a great step in the right direction. But then when you put it on the shelf, because it has to sit there until it gets purchased, they're going to spray it with this diluted pesticide
Yeah.
until it's pulled off the shelf, So it's like you're still getting local stuff, but some way, shape, or form, it's still being tampered with.
Yeah.
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 That's kind of like one of the main things I noticed too, like on my deployments to Spain. I'm sure Omar too. Like the food, it just doesn't last as long. Like you buy a gallon of milk, and it would only be good for like maybe a week, maybe,
Yeah.
and then it's bad because they don't do all the additives. And same thing with like your fresh produce, like your vegetables and stuff like that. Like if you're not eating it within the couple days, it's gonna go bad. So like that, it just
Yeah.
and like even like a lot of like our like sodas and cereals and stuff, how they're illegal in other countries. I was just talking about this with
Yeah.
guys at work. But
Which
like
is
yeah,
insane.
it's really crazy.
I saw somebody post something and they were showing, what was it? There's a chemical, I feel like it starts with an A. I don't recall, but there's like a corn valley or something where it's like the majority of the corn is grown in the United States, but it's banned in other countries, and it's a pesticide to help everything grow and whatnot. And it's getting into the soil, it's getting into the water, and so it's coming through everybody's water systems in their homes and stuff. And they started doing all this testing. I want to know the name of this. I can't remember, but they did a study. They put frogs in an environment with this specific chemical. And over a 3-year period, it was changing the male frogs to females. And they were
Yeah, I heard about this.
producing, did you hear about that? And then they started
Yeah.
also producing eggs.
Yeah, there's that one I forget his he has a podcast too, but he's like they're turning the frogs gay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Alex Jones.
Yeah, it's Alex Jones. Alex Jones. Yeah, he talked about it a while ago, but like
Oh my
Dang,
God.
that's what
I
he
just saw
did.
it the
He's like
other
they're turning
day.
the frogs gay.
Oh
but
my
it's true
gosh.
because going back to that, there was a study. I can't remember where it was, but where plastics got introduced, like in the early 1900s, and from then to now, like the estrogen levels have been crazy.
Yes.
So people or females are going into like I guess puberty
Premenopause
earlier.
and
Yep.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like I forgot, like a 7 year.
I'm trying to remember because I actually just
What the?
watched that. There was a Joe Rogan podcast that I had listened to with it's a brother and a sister. I don't
Oh yeah,
remember
I told you
their
guys to
names.
listen to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I started it.
And
That's a
she
good
was
one.
talking about, well, the siblings were talking about how that chemical in the plastic or whatever, when it starts breaking down, it increases these estrogen levels. And because everything is just being mass produced in all of this plastic product, it's essentially a food group for humans nowadays,
Yeah.
without it being even known.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, because even in that podcast, they were talking about how they would open up or they would dissect these placentas, and there was like 100% of them had plastics in them already.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, geez, it's becoming a thing where it's inevitable, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you can still deter from that in other ways. Like we, I didn't even know that was a thing. Kelsey, my wife, she's always telling me like we're gonna stay away from plastics.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a big deal at the moment, but now
No,
I'm like looking at it
yeah.
all. I'm like, what the world?
And
Like,
that's something
geez.
I need to work on too, because I have been plastic bottling it up, but I need to get back to it. I used to carry around a glass bottle and have good filtered water, where just in a glass bottle, but I reverted to good old plastic bottles lately. So
But it's the convenience factor. It goes
It's your
back to the
fault, dude.
convenience factor,
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yep.
you know?
Also, the tap water in Guthrie, Oklahoma is shit.
Yeah.
Like there's so many nasty.
You can't drink it. You can't
Yeah,
drink
there's so much like nasty chemicals in it. Like it tastes terrible and it's terrible for you. Like they put out like PSAs every so often, like, hey, don't drink the tap water from this time to this time because there's a leakage of this, and this in there. And yeah, so it's just really not a good idea to drink tap water around here.
Yeah, no, it's
Jeez.
crazy. Our friends actually got a filtration system on their house, and I think, what was it? They had the water tested before they had it installed, and the amount of chlorine in
Yeah.
their water.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, "Oh my gosh." And she was telling me, she was like, because right after they got it, she was saying, to add it, because they've got like this whole water tank essentially where you get the water from versus the sink. And so she started telling me to mix it a little bit, because if you pull it straight out of the water fountain or whatever, um, because the pH is more balanced, and it's something that we're typically not used to because of the fluoride, the chlorine, and all that kind of stuff. She goes, it will mess up your stomach.
Oh
So
yeah.
she was saying that when they started drinking that more purified water, it actually like gave them like stomach issues for a little
Yeah.
bit to adjust
Mm,
to,
yeah.
which is crazy.
Oh,
'Cause I
yeah.
feel like I had that in Germany with the water, which was crazy. Like when I went to Germany, I was drinking their water, and I honestly felt like it was fucking my belly up. Even though they're stingy with their water up there, you, you
Yeah.
gotta buy
In Europe in
anyways.
general. Yep.
But it, like AJ was saying, when I was in Germany though, me and the girl that I was with at the time, we could eat anything, and we don't really eat a whole lot of processed foods or eat out. We're gluten free, but there we could eat just about everything and anything, and we did, and didn't feel like shit, and we're good to go. So that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
I feel the same way because so my father-in-law was born and raised in Peru, and they have family over there still. And so sometimes when we go over there and visit, I mean, the food there is just so fresh and different. I mean,
Yeah.
even like some of their processed stuff, or they've got, like the Kool-Aid packets, drinks.
Hmm.
They have some of those over there, but the amount of ingredients is significantly less, and the sugar is less. I mean, so it's just, and even like if we did go out to a restaurant or whatever, the quality of food is so much better, and everything
Oh yeah.
is, I mean, we had chicken tenders for the kids, and I still can't get over it from the first time we went there. I was like, oh my gosh, like the breading on it, you could tell they breaded it in house, stuck it in the fryer, and then served it to you. Like it didn't come frozen, breaded. And then, I mean, just the
Hmm.
quality of everything is so different outside of America. And it's so crazy because now it's like, well, I have kids, and we try to make as much as we can homemade. But at the same time, it's
Mhm.
like, how do you help keep this out of their diet?
Yeah.
And it's like, Omar, I think you said, it's kind of inevitable. It's just
Yep.
there.
And
Yeah.
also, what you
So do
said
your
though
best,
is,
and then get in the sauna too.
well, I was gonna say
So
portion control, like you were saying on those kind
Oh,
of things.
Yeah.
yeah.
Portion control on those kind of things where, yeah, you still got to kind of be aware, like it's not
Yeah.
the best for you, so don't get carried away.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, like we talk about with anything else, with freaking the tasty brews and all that stuff, you still
Yeah.
gotta kind of
And that's my
control
thing
it.
too, because it's like I'm not a big sweets person, so it's so easy for me to have portion control on that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I always joke around because even when I was teaching classes at a studio that I owned, um, everybody would ask, like, what do you suggest for a diet? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, I am a walking contradiction because I don't eat to live. I live to eat. Like you put queso in front of me, I'm gonna ask you where the spoon
yeah,
is. Like I
yeah.
don't get the chips. You know,
I
and
feel
so
you
for
100%
me, it's
there. Yeah.
like, yeah. So for me, it's like the sweets aren't really the issue or that kind of thing. It's more of like the good fried food and whatever else. But then at the same time, you know, pretty balanced and I mean, moderation, I guess. But the portion control thing has always not been an issue, I guess, for me. I guess I just never really paid attention to it, you know. I work out so I can eat type of thing. I live to eat type of
You hear
thing.
that, Brian?
But
Work out, dude. Jeez.
I work out to
Overrated.
eat. But my husband, he makes such good smash burgers. Oh my gosh. And they are so good. I could easily overstuff myself and eat two. And I will feel it in my thighs everywhere, like before I'm done eating it. But then it's like, okay, cool. Tomorrow morning, we're just going to get back up. We're going to get back on track. We're going to work out. We're going to have chicken salads for dinner or whatever. But I mean,
Yeah, you
yeah,
bring up a good point too. It's like, yeah,
portion
you can
control is
do
not my
that,
thing.
but get back on track. Get back on track throughout the week. Don't
Yeah,
beat yourself up too much just because you
yeah,
freaking splurged a little bit one day. Just go
yeah.
back on the next day.
Well, and
Do a
that's
little
the
bit
thing
better.
too. Like I say, I mean, you know, when it comes to the moderation, some days there's just days that are gonna be off. And you
Mhm.
can mess it up in the morning or you can mess it up in the afternoon, whatever it may be. You know, you have all day to mess something up. Um, but I think the next day you can also continue to focus and not be hurt or harmed by what it was that you messed up on the day before. You know, it's like, so I had two burgers. Okay. Well, the next morning I'm going to get up, I'm going to do my thing, I'm going to do my workout or whatever, maybe have some kefir or yogurt or whatever and make a well balanced meal, make sure I have protein throughout the day, whatever it may be. You know, so you can't, and that's the thing too, because I know a lot of people have an issue with the guilt of those slip ups or the bad choice or whatever it might be. But it's like, just continue to go because the
Mhm.
more you continue to go, the less those slip ups are going to seem so detrimental. And you can just just
Yeah.
maintain the majority of that physical activity and the balanced diet, hydration, whatever it may be. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's huge because I know a lot of people let that weigh on them really heavily. But you just got to keep going, just like anything.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. And that is a
Yeah. Some
great thing to
people.
say
Oh, go
because
ahead.
I feel like I feel that guilt and I hang on to it for a little bit too long at times. And then it's crazy because like I'll get in that gym and then I get out and feel like a total different person. You know,
yeah,
I'll have like a bad week because I'm over here just being pissed off about Monday, you know, and
yeah,
then it's hanging on to it for whatever reason. And then that next week, I get back in the gym, and it's like, bro, if you would have just went to the gym and just got any kind of workout, you know, just getting there, get on the treadmill for a little bit, whatever it might be, you know, it just changes everything. I feel like it does. And then even when I left the gym, my whole mindset changed. I was cleaning, I was doing everything that I wasn't doing the week before because I was still beating myself up about, oh man, I can't believe I did that and this, that, and the third. But like you said, just get up and you know you're gonna have a bad day. It's okay. Move forward. You
yeah,
know, keep staying active.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's okay. You know, I saw a long time ago, and I think Johnny Depp was actually the one that said this, but he was like, it's a bad day, not a bad life.
Hmm.
And so it's like, it's okay because you're going to have slip ups in a lot of areas of your life. But as humans, we continue to move forward. We don't stop, we just continue to modify.
Yep.
And as long as you just keep going, which I think naturally we already do, but the guilt for some things just way heavier or longer, like you said, you know, for some than it does for others. And I think just being comfortable and confident in the fact that you're doing good is important to know, you know? So it's like, it's okay. You messed up. Just start again. Start over.
Yeah, exactly. Cause yeah,
Yeah.
some people get stuck in this like, oh, I slipped up today. Why am I gonna keep going? Like I'll just stay like this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do this.
And then you just feel
Find ways.
crummier and
Yeah, exactly.
everything gets worse and goes downhill from there. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I know I'm gonna get back out there because I know that's who I am. I'm gonna go, but then I just drive myself in like I make myself mad because I'm like, well, why haven't you done it yet? You know, you didn't do it yesterday and you still haven't done it today, and it's a vicious cycle like going through my head, and
It
then
is.
up until I finally actually do it, then it's just like, okay, well, there you go. Look, now you're back.
Yeah. And when you know that you're going to go back or get back on track or whatever it is, when you know that that's what you do and that you have the willpower to continue to do that, or you have the strength to continue to go or change it as fast as you possibly can or whatever. I mean, when you know that you can get there, but then sometimes you're feeling like you're not getting there fast enough, then you create a whole different
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, oh
area of or additional frustration. And then all of these
Yes.
just compound
oh yeah,
on top of each other. But
Oh yeah.
it is, it's a vicious cycle, like you said.
it is.
Yeah, because I know for Brian has a difficult time, especially with like eating because he has to eat a certain types of food. So some of those things linger with him, and that probably kind of also puts a burden on him where it's like, ah, shoot, I want to do this, but I know it's gonna mess me up. Like, and then it becomes this thing where now he's like, what the heck can I eat? Like, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
probably what kind of discourages you too, like to keep going at it sometimes, whether it's like more protein dense foods or something like that, or being more having more carbs that are healthier. Um, but yeah, dude, what do you think about that?
What do I think about it? Yeah, it
Yeah.
can be at times, but like I said, I've been doing it for so long now that I really don't think about it. Of course, whenever like everybody else does, I have my bad days where yeah, I just want a cheeseburger. You know, I just want a cheeseburger and some fries, please, with like a shake. You know, I don't mind a little chocolate shake, but I know for me, I can't have that chocolate shake because it really fucks me up. Like it fucks up my belly. And then if I had a real cheeseburger, that bread, since I haven't ate bread in over 5 years, I know if I were to try to eat that bread, it's really because I've had it done before where I would say, fuck, you know, I'm gonna have some bread. And it really just fucks me up where it inflames my body where my body hurts, you know? And so I know the consequences to it. So for me, I don't really think about eating that stuff. For me, it's just like now I have to go and eat what I know I can eat, which is usually some chicken with some rice or some sweet potatoes. And it is kind of tiring, but like I said, I know I'm lazy, so I don't really cook. So I know that's the option I got.
Gosh, I want to be lazy and not cook.
Oh my gosh. No, you don't. Don't say that.
It's so time consuming. I know tonight
It
was
is.
actually leftovers night, and I was like, oh, it couldn't have happened on a better night.
Yeah, that's a question I was gonna ask you is with, having the kids and stuff, I know we meal prep and whatnot, but there's some times where one of my boys just doesn't want to eat. It's like, dude, gotta
Yeah.
eat.
Bring him
He's
down.
like,
I yeah.
Uncle B's got him. Bring him down.
We have I think I got this from when one of the kids was in preschool, and they were just very sweet and gentle about the statement, but they were like, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
yeah, yeah, that's
So, yeah.
they do that.
And
Yeah,
so for me, I tell the kids, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And if they want to continue to complain, excuse me, and then it's like, okay, well, you can go sit in your room and you can finish your homework, you can get your pajamas on, you can go to bed, and I guarantee you'll eat your breakfast in the morning. I also heard something else on the radio one time, and I thought it was hilarious. And I think I actually told my mom I was going to try this, and I haven't yet. And this mom called in on the radio, and she goes, every time my kids complain about the meal that I make for dinner for 3 days, the only thing that they get to eat is rice and water.
Ooh.
So if her kids would complain at all about their dinner meal, she would get up, take it away, serve them rice and water, and they would get that for 3 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, okay. So fortunately, my
Yeah.
kids aren't really picky like my nieces. They're definitely pickier than my kids. My kids, I think my daughter like doesn't like zucchini. One of my boys does not like asparagus, and I think all three of them don't like capers. And that's pretty much it. But I've also from them at a very young age, just you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And if you want to sit and complain and not have it, well, you can go get ready for bed and it'll be
Yep.
here for you in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
No more. Hey, what I tell you boys, man. Okay, you don't want to eat? Go ahead, have it. Go to the room. When you're ready,
Yeah.
come
You're right.
on.
I'm like,
When you're
you
ready,
can
you
clean your
come back down
room,
and eat.
you can do homework. There's so much that you can do in your bedroom. I've seen it. You can clean it up, you can read, I don't care. But if you're not going to eat, then, and so we do, we try to instill that quite a bit, or it's like, okay, well, this is dinner. So, and we'll use to, like you just got back from jujitsu or you just got back from soccer or whatever it is. And, you know, I always try to rationalize with them first
Mhm.
and let them know, that this is their fuel after whatever. So it'd be a very smart choice for you to eat this.
Yeah, yeah, there
And
you go.
but kids are stubborn. They are so
Yeah, that's
stubborn.
true.
And they learn that independence and then they start pushing boundaries and then they get more
Oh yeah.
independence as they get older. And so there's constantly a battle of these boundaries. And so they think that they're going to get away with it. And sometimes I just got to throw my white flag and just say, oh my
Yeah,
God, okay, whatever.
yeah. Whatever, eat whatever you want.
Nope.
I don't even
Yeah.
care anymore.
Yeah. Terry came up with a good point. Back in the day, he said they went hungry, and I feel like yes, you better eat that food, or you're not eating anything at all. Okay,
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Oh
Go
my
to sleep.
gosh. Yeah. My dad used to do that to us all the time. Or he would make us, I think he would make us sit there until we were done eating.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
And
That's
I
what
mean,
happened to us.
we'd have to sit there. I think my one sister, I want to say she sat there until like almost 9 or 10 o'clock one night or something. I think we were having pork chops, and my mom would like only ever make fried breaded pork chops. And we always were just like, this is the worst meal ever. Like we were so over it. And we just refused. So
Yeah.
we sat for a very
Strike.
long time,
Yeah. No.
falling asleep at the table.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only one meal that I didn't really care for, and it was like a zucchini dish, but it had like
Yep. I
cheese
was
in it.
thinking about the same one,
And
dude.
man,
Oh no.
I could not do it. And even to the
Nope.
day, I like zucchini though,
Yeah.
but I just found out recently. But if you mix the two, I'm out. I don't know what it was, but I just could not do it. I could
What,
not.
it was zucchini and what?
And cheese. It was like some cheesy dish. It's like I don't really
It,
know
yeah.
what
It
it was.
was. I don't know what it was,
You know,
but
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But and
I don't
I
know. It was.
but we
It had
got in trouble
good.
and we couldn't leave we couldn't leave the table. And of course, I tried to finish it and I ended up throwing up.
Oh
Was
my
I being
gosh.
dramatic? Probably, but I
Yeah.
threw up.
Yeah. That
We
sounds
used
right.
to
Drama.
do, yeah, we used to do the gagging for sure.
But that was the only dish I can remember, like me personally, not really like messing with it because I really was. I'm still not a picky eater, but now I have to kind of be cautious on what I eat because I could eat
Yeah.
anything if I could. Because I used to be shy when ordering food, and I would always just be like, I'll just have what he's having too, even if it wasn't something I didn't really care for. I just was too shy to be like. But now I'm just like, no bread, don't put none of that on there, and yeah, send it this way.
Yeah. That's the other thing I was gonna mention too, because I feel like Omar and I had talked about this. The FODMAP diet. Yes, we did, Omar. The
Yeah.
FODMAP diet. Have you heard of this? You have. Okay. Yeah, because I went to a GI. I thought I was getting celiac, right? Yeah, the gluten intolerance or whatever. And so they had tested and it came back fine, which I assumed it would. But I mean, I was getting like terrible stomach pains. It was so bad. And so she gave me the FODMAP stuff to do. And then that's when I found out about the kefir pro, which apparently is pronounced kefir, but I like kefir better.
I was about to say I don't even know what that was.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's the probiotic yogurt, so it's almost like a yogurt
Yeah.
drink, but,
I remember
um
yeah.
and it's good. I mean, and I'll buy one flavored and one plain to go back to, like, the yogurt and the vanilla thing earlier, and I'll let
Mhm.
my kids mix them, so that way it's still kind of
Yep.
diluted. But so she was telling me about the kefir, and then she also told me about, a pill, it's called IB Guard, but it's really just a peppermint supplement, and so she was telling me, "You can respond poorly to an apple, but it might not be the apple as a whole. It might just be the skin of an apple."
Oh,
Excuse me. And then, like, for example, raw tomatoes. I can have raw tomatoes. I can eat it like an apple. And stewed tomatoes actually messes with my stomach. So if I'm going to have like a red pasta dish, I can anticipate something in my stomach is going to get set off. Or like asparagus, kale, broccoli, spinach, like all of my favorite vegetables. So all of those different things. And so she was kind of walking me through different ways um, to kind of address some of those issues and how to dilute it a little bit so that way it's not as harsh. So like the only bread I really eat is sourdough. The only pasta that I do is the semolina. We've actually tried making homemade pasta recently, so we're gonna try that again because that was fun. Um, and then what was the other thing? Yeah, the semolina pasta, sourdough, and then if I just know I was able to figure out what kind of food I respond to. And so now I just kind of prepare myself for that.
Yeah.
But it's hard because especially if you go out, you don't know
yeah.
exactly what ingredients are being used in the back. And like I said, I mean, I know that there's certain things that I'll respond to. And usually when I go out, I respond to just about everything poorly.
Yeah, that's the same thing with this guy.
Yeah.
Well, to
But
some
the
degree,
FODMAP
I
was
feel
great
like,
because it helped me decide what foods were affecting me. So that helped. But
and I feel
Yeah,
like
do that, dude.
also if, well, this is kind of, I think for a lot of folks, maybe not, but when I'm stressed out, my body really cannot. That's whenever like my heartburns will be like fucking through the roof. Where I could usually eat maybe some pasta, like some red sauce, but if I'm like stressed out or something like that, no way, Jose. I can't eat spicy stuff. I don't know if this is for everybody, but for me, if I feel like I'm stressed out or something like that, man, them heartburns come in like no. Uh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and all that immunity starts kind of freezing, not necessarily breaking down, but all of a sudden it's like, ah, and all of those other things start happening a lot more.
Yeah. Terry asked, what's the most difficult part, doing the diet or going to the gym? He said his diet
diet.
is yeah, the diet is the hardest part, but it makes everything line up better. It makes
Oh, it does. It
those
Yeah.
actually
goals
does.
that you have, whether it's aesthetics or, getting stronger in the gym, it makes everything better. So combining it both, it's hard, but yeah, you got to
I
do
think
Yeah.
the
both.
consistency with the physical activity is probably harder for me, but I also have an incredibly crazy schedule. And so trying to make sure, like, because if I don't do it in the morning, it's not going to get done. But if I've got a busy morning lined up, I just know I know I'm not going to wake up earlier than my alarm is going to go off, and I'm not going to change my alarm because I'm
You and me
terrible
both.
about that.
That's on a good day.
But two, I feel like it's really easy for me to make a poor diet choice, and that changes my day entirely. Like I can have every intention of, having my meals planned out for the week and prepped for the evening, and it's a good balanced whatever, but the minute I just choose the wrong food, oh, I a
Yeah.
deep dive for the
Yeah.
rest
No, I
of the
feel you.
day,
Yeah.
but I don't feel as bad about it if I get the workout in.
Hmm. That's what I
Yeah,
Which
feel
that's a good
like a
point.
big,
doesn't sound.
It's like I gotta get in there now. I got
yeah.
I know.
That's why I'm a big fan of it, even though a lot of people can't. Is prepping your meals. Because then, for me at least, I have less of a, you don't really have to think about it. Like, okay, well, I know I've already got my lunch and my dinner. So some people, when they get off of work, like, well, I don't even know what I'm gonna eat. So I don't know. You're thinking about too much stuff. So if you just have that already made for dinner at least, then I usually like to go to the gym right after work. So go to the gym, and then at least now you know what to eat instead of maybe having a trash after your workout meal too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Yep.
goes back to like portion control too, because you already set that meal up to what you're gonna eat. So going back to Terry's question where he said his diet isn't bad, but he eats a little bit more. And that's something that you can kind of even set in your plate, just having that set amount and just staying with that, and then
Yeah,
just kind of building that habit to just go off of that. Well, and maybe, I mean, like Brian does, snack here and there, but not to an extent of getting too carried away
yeah, and that is a
with
big
those.
thing there is because I know a lot of times we eat to get full. We don't eat to just rebuild our whatever it might be to replenish that energy. We eat to get full. The big thing for me is just knowing like, okay, I ate enough. I don't have to go get another bowl of rice and some more chicken. That's plenty, and I don't have to get 2 bags or 2 king size Snicker bars. One is gonna be okay, man. And
Yeah.
so it's like you said, it's all about portion control. And like I said here, portion control is kind of we get big portions, so you don't really have to go back for seconds. So that one portion, most of the time, is gonna be more than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, in as Mexicans in the culture, it's like our moms gives us the food or whatever, like, "Oh, you want some more? No, you're gonna have some more. Here you go." And even with our aunts and stuff like that, they're like, "Oh, no, you can have some more. Oh, here's
Just keeps
Omar. He's a
coming.
big eater.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
usually the
he'll eat it."
garbage disposal. Like, oh, you guys done eating? All right, put me in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, "All right, tap,
Live to
tap.
eat.
Yeah,
I had enough beans, mom. I had enough beans. You got"
That's so funny.
But it's true. So, going back to, where you started working out and stuff like that after bed rest, what was your mentality on, keep pushing, and staying positive, making sure you knew what you needed to do and you wanted to get back to what you were doing, but what was like the biggest, I guess, the mental aspect of it that kind of kept you pushing?
Um, I'd have a lot of self conversations. I mean, there was a part for sure where I was like, you might not be able to do everything you want to do today, but just do something.
mhm,
Just continue to build. Because they were telling me that, I had to completely kind of rebuild my diaphragm. And so going through that, I was like, if I just maintain that routine, all of this, everything that happened, it'll continue to strengthen itself.
mhm.
So obviously, when I started working out in high school or um, during COVID or whatever, it's like I didn't start off as strong as I was towards the end of that. You eventually have to work your way up, and that's with anything.
Yep,
And so I would just kind of keep telling myself, just keep doing it, just keep going, just make sure you do something, whatever it may be. And that was really about it, I mean, I was telling somebody not that long ago, I was like, I am also still human and don't set a great example. I mean, I'll walk around with my coffee in the morning sometimes and just tell myself, just do it.
Yep.
Just do it. I like Nike the crap out of my morning.
Yep.
Like there's days where I have to do that before. I mean, I think a lot of people say pressing play is the hardest part. For me, I think putting my shoes on is the hardest part. But once my shoes are on, I'm ready to go. And so
Yeah.
I've always told myself that once you get your shoes on, why not?
Once I get out
Yes.
of bed,
Shoes.
it's usually like, okay, now it's time to go. Usually I'm
Right.
running late. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I really
Yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I think knowing, like there was a point not long before that where I was obviously much better shape or much different shape, whatever it was, um, knowing that I've already been there once, you can obviously go back. So, but again, the thing is too, it doesn't happen overnight. So just
Absolutely.
making sure you continue to do that.
Absolutely. That's a
Was
Yeah.
great
good.
thing for a lot of folks who are trying to or wanting to get back in the gym, but like I said, they have that vision, like, oh, I used to do all this. I used to. That's fine. Now you can do it, but we have to take those steps to get back to where we were. Because a lot of people, like me, I took a couple, maybe a week or two off, okay, and I went back in there, and I know I'm not going to be able to do what I did last time. So I got to slowly work my way up, and that's what a lot of people who try to go into the gym, they get discouraged really, really fast. Because oh, no, I'm stronger than that. Like you might be, yeah, but we gotta wake up the muscles. Is what I always tell them. We gotta wake the muscles back up. Okay, so let's stretch out, make sure we're getting the form right, and then we can start adding some weight. Just you gotta take baby steps, one day at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I always think about that because a lot of people will come up with a bunch of excuses and stuff on, "Nah, I can't do this because of that." Yes, you can. You just gotta, like you're saying, put your shoes on and get going.
Yeah.
Um,
Just do it.
but yeah, it is just getting to that point, and then in like you said, everybody's different. It might just be like Brian getting up out of bed. It might be just walking out the door or whatever it is. As long as we're making those moves
Hmm.
towards getting better, then hey, we're going. If
Absolutely.
Well, and
not
it
today, at
goes,
least we're making one step. What's that one saying? If you can't take one step at a time, I forgot what it was,
If you
but
can't crawl, then walk. That's what
no,
I was thinking.
yeah, no,
Sorry.
that's not it.
If you can't, if you can't run, then
Pass,
walk. If you
pass.
can't crawl, if you can't walk, then crawl.
pass.
Okay.
That's so funny. I mean, because there's going to be times too, back to Brian's point, about once you do it, you just feel so much better. And there's times where I've done a workout and I've gone into it just kind of struggling or just not, but I still did it. And then by the time I'm done with it, you have that completely different mindset. And there's been so many times where I've finished a workout and I've just been like, okay, well, I could have pushed a lot harder than
Yeah.
I did, but you know, like that was weak today, but I still did something.
I was gonna say you
You did it.
did
Yeah.
something.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah. So just got to keep going.
No, that's true. Because and this was something that I never really thought about it till it was we kind of talked about it. But whenever a client comes in, if they're just going through the motion, I'm like, oh, okay, why are we even here?
Yeah.
But we're here, and that's good. That's good enough because maybe the next time it's gonna move on from that, and
Yeah.
then from there, the intensity goes up and along, and it keeps going up. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Absolutely.
was, yeah, just
One
taking
day at
it
a
up.
time. One day at a time.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, eating. Yeah, yeah, because there is a signal. So Terry says it takes 20 minutes to feel full. Eating slowly is key. Yep, because there's a signal that goes to your brain to tell you that you're satisfied. So that signal kind of takes a little bit of time. So
Why do
yeah,
you
that's
take me
why they
20
usually
seconds
say
to take down my plate? 20 seconds and I'm done.
Yeah, you can't do that. You gotta take it slow and steady.
What's up,
What's up,
bud?
dude?
What's up,
What's
guys?
up?
But it goes back to that live to eat. Just
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
slow and steady.
yes.
But that's true.
You
Yeah,
say
it's like,
say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
hi, what up?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, my dudes, it's like
Did,
their bedtime right
did you get
now.
your workout in?
Yeah. Yeah, you got your workout in.
Okay, good
Yeah,
job.
Yeah,
there we
you
go.
got your jujitsu.
Ooh,
Ooh,
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu. Okay. You want to
they
fight
had.
me? Yeah, I don't want to
uh
fight you
oh,
either.
don't do it, don't do it. Yeah, I tell everybody, if my boys ever get into jujitsu, I'm gonna get in there because they can't know anything that I don't. Okay,
Oh
because
my
when it
gosh.
comes to that
Yeah.
time, I was talking to my buddy Wava earlier today, and when it comes to that time, when they get older, they try to step up. I gotta be ready. Okay, I gotta be ready.
Yeah. You got like 2 years, bud. Good luck.
Okay,
They
And you
chill,
won't be
even
dude.
calling me.
they'll try and pin me in the kitchen right now sometimes, and I'm just like, okay, you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
time to get those
You're good.
locks
I
and
tap.
moves out. Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing too that I utilize because if they start arguing and stuff like that, I'll tell them, the three of them, I'm like, listen, you guys need to figure it out. I can only referee or mediate so much. And if you're not going to let me help the situation, you guys are on your own. And I'll make them go downstairs and you guys have to jujitsu it out. I'll make them go downstairs and be like,
Yeah,
jujitsu rules, go figure it out.
yeah,
Well, good.
yep.
Yeah.
I do the same. Yeah.
And
Well,
that
we
I
don't
gotta
know
say is a
jujitsu.
good thing.
We know we're just wrestling. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good thing because you can also let frustration out, but in a good way.
yep.
Mhm.
If you're feeling that type of way, okay, that's okay. Let's get it out. But and then afterwards, because usually afterwards they're like, oh, okay, yeah, usually, but I don't know how you kids
Yeah.
are.
Well,
They're
and they
usually cool afterwards.
understand that there's the boundaries
Yeah,
and, the limitations or whatever. Like they
Hmm.
can't go down there swinging arms.
yeah,
Yep.
And, and if somebody taps, they're going to tap. But there's been so many times where I'm like, you guys go downstairs and you figure it out.
yep.
Yep.
That's awesome. I love
Exactly.
that.
But
Say no biting, punching, or
nope,
Thinking,
what else? Scratching.
thinking.
I think that's the
Yeah.
one. Go
scratching.
ahead.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
No,
watch
thank
that
you.
dang. What's that? PJ Mask or something like that? Where I don't know. But anyways,
I watched
um,
that.
No.
I don't know.
circling back to group fitness, what would you say is the benefits of group fitness, and what would you tell people that are kind of like interested in it? Like, what do you
In teaching
take out
group
of it?
fitness,
Yeah. Like, what would somebody, I guess, expect out of group fitness?
um, I and this is why I also love group fitness too. Group fitness isn't always for everybody, and that's totally fine. So, for example, my Monday classes, the bottom busters and the upper body busters, is going to be completely different than my piloxene class. My piloxene class, you don't have weights, you don't have it broken down. It's more choreographed. And so there's people, including myself, that don't have the moves down, or in the Pilates portion, I'm always unstable. And, so there's a lot of things where people are on a completely different level than you.
Mhm.
But again, back to your point earlier, you showed up. So you're all there for the same goal. You're all there for the same reason to get some sort of similar outcome, whether it's the stimulation or whatever it may be. But nobody's going to be on the same level, whether that's, watching the instructor, me, I tell them all the time. I'm like, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm still working on trying to figure out how to hold in my core so I don't teeter over or whatever. But, and that's what I think is fun about it, because too, as an instructor, you can kind of modify or manipulate that environment to make it more fun, but make it comfortable so that way people can feel perfectly fine. Hey, shh, on their level or their capabilities. Some people have different range of motions than other people. So there's a lot of different kinds of modifications that people have. But again, you're there for the same reason as the person next to you. So I've always thought that that's big for group fitness, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of like in a way also like an accountability like, "Oh, I got to go see my buddy over here and make sure we're getting it in with Alyssa over here doing some dang bloxing." So that yeah, I see it like that. But I also see it on the other end for it's kind of hard to kind of dial in for somebody where maybe they're struggling a little bit more and then you're like you want to kind of help them out but you can't, and
Mhm.
that's where I would struggle. That's why I don't know if I could do the
We
whole
had that
instructor thing.
conversation, yeah. Because there's this
Yeah.
older gal that does do my bottom busters class, but and she's the sweetest thing ever, but she doesn't necessarily like her form with her back, for example, like with deadlifts. So a lot of things are like if I'm doing sumo squats with your pelvis tucked rather than sticking out or whatever it may be, some certain modifications she just can't do. But at the same time, I notice she's grabbing heavier weights and she's still working on those movements to her ability.
Yeah.
And so it's like for me, I obviously want to try and help her with the form, but say if somebody has scoliosis or something, they can only do so much with their back, but they can still go in and try and do these moves and slowly add on to their weight and everything else. So it's there's a lot of different areas where it's almost like pick your battles, but
Yeah.
it's hard too because they're also under your watch, under your responsibility. So there's definitely things like that I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And again, and that falls into, everybody's range of motion is going to be different. Everybody's skeletal ability is going to be slightly different. So I've seen her picking up heavier weights, so that just tells me for sure. I mean, she was doing threes and now she's at tens for squats and stuff. So
Moving up.
it's like she's obviously working hard. She's been showing up every Monday for a while now, and so she does. She works hard and she's funny. She makes noises sometimes and just oh,
Yeah.
she's good.
Makes it interesting.
Yes, for sure. And it helps you kind of develop a little bit of that relationship too with individuals,
Yeah.
Yep.
rather than just as a group. So I like it.
What would you say is the most difficult part of being an instructor?
Probably the fact that you can't get people to get their
Yeah.
form.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that what? Yeah. I was gonna word it differently, but yeah, I figured.
Yeah, along those lines.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right on. Nice. So going into the real estate stuff. So you got into that. Um, you said like after high school, pretty much.
Well, I did my job shadowing in high school for real estate, and then
Yeah.
when I went to college, I started with nursing, and then I ended up back in
That's right.
real
That's
estate.
right.
Yep. Yeah, so I started that like 8 or 9 years ago, real estate.
Oh my.
Okay. Brian
Mhm.
did real estate or
Yep.
does
Yep.
Oh,
Did
does
did.
did
Well,
did.
we'll say did. We did. But yeah. So I've got a question with that in the real estate, especially right now. This, we got the elections coming on. Do you feel like that makes a difference in the real estate game?
Ooh, that was one of
I
my
mean,
questions.
yeah, I think right now the market in general, not just here, everywhere. I mean, I took a class recently, and there were people from New York, Georgia. I think there were Arkansas, Washington. So I mean, they're all kind of seeing the same thing. And I was talking with another agent today, and it was like the amount of listings out there right now versus the amount of showings that are happening. There's very little showings, or I mean, maybe not very little, but there's not that many showings happening, and it's like tomorrow I have a listing that's going live, and I was talking to a lender, and he was like, you know, the rates, he goes shit the bed. And so it's like, I think people kind of sometimes start to get a little concerned, or maybe just kind of postpone a little bit just to kind of see what's going to happen or how it's going to all pan out or whatever. But, I mean, either way, especially for here, because there's so much military, um, people are moving
Mhm.
either way.
Yeah.
Whether, and even if it's not for military, people change jobs all the time. People have something happen in their family or their life or whatever. So there's constantly movement.
Yeah.
How do you work with it? How do you find it? And how do you close it, is really the question. And there's so many agents too.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, not even, in the nation, yes. And then in the Springs alone, there's so many agents. But um, I think at this point, I was talking with a couple agents earlier, and at this point, a lot of people treat it like a dog eat dog world, where it's like, I'm doing this. Why? Like, I'm looking out for myself and my paycheck versus let's work together. You've got a listing, I've got somebody who's interested in it. Let's try and come to some sort of middle ground because, well, if they didn't want to sell their home, then they wouldn't be on the market. And if my buyer didn't want to look at your home, then they wouldn't have looked at it, And so there's things like that where you really just kind of have to keep that movement while reassuring them and letting them know, like, this is natural. People are still moving. How do we work with what's happening? You know? So there's things that are tricky and things that not. I mean, when COVID was happening, even and the rates were so low, I mean, houses were just skyrocketing. So it was almost the same situation where people were just bringing tons of extra cash to the table to buy a home, completely overpriced. But at the same time, if you're going in at a higher amount with a lower interest rate, I mean, at that point, you're almost evening out. So you just kind of always got to play with what the environment's doing. So
Oh yeah.
it's rough.
I think yeah, when we moved here, it was about 3 years ago or so, and we bought while we were overseas. We were in Germany because we were trying to get in while the what the ratings were low or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, the rates were
The
low. So I
mortgage
was like,
rates, yeah,
"Oh,
interest
we
rates.
gotta yeah." So we gotta make the move. And
Yeah.
yeah, we were fortunate enough to have a good house, but it's still like that's a big freaking purchase you're making, and you don't even get
It's a
to see
huge
it in person.
investment. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
it was
I've
it was scary.
only ever done one sight unseen. And yeah, I they were coming from Hawaii, and that was I had the angel and the devil for sure, like, happening during that whole thing, because I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't love the fact that I'm showing this to you guys over the phone,
Mhm.
yada yada. And then it's like, okay, well, this is what they requested, this is what they were looking to do, and they love the house through FaceTime. Like, I don't know. I mean, there are people in that situation though, and you just kind of got to lay it out best you possibly can for them, and just pray to God that when they get here, they actually like the home and love the feel
Yeah.
of it and being in it. I don't know. Why are you going to bed?
Oh, yep. It's not nighttime.
I know. We got everybody coming in.
Oh yeah. They're about to tackle you.
I know.
What up?
Say hi.
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 Well, Omar, I feel like this has been great, Alyssa, but we're gonna go ahead and cut it here. We're gonna close out, Omar.
Okay, yeah. Hey, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
It's been super fun. It's been
Yeah,
good.
it was fun.
Uh,
For
It,
sure.
it really has been.
yeah, it was
This
nice
you're our
meeting you.
first You're our first guest that went on the pod live, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Woo.
So thank you so much. You have an
thank you very
amazing
much.
story. You've overcome
stop.
quite a bit.
I don't
And
want
just
it.
keep on keeping
Stop.
on, Alyssa. Thank you again for coming on.
Yes.
You have a great day.
Be a
And of
good
course,
role model to your
cheers
kids and
to
stuff.
health to you.
Thanks for
Cheers.
having
Cheers
me.
to health.
Cheers to health.
Y'all have a great night. Get to bed.